It's Halloween season, which means it's time to rank some horror franchises. So today I'm going to rank all three films in the Ring trilogy from worst to best. Now, I am only doing the American versions. I'm not including the Japanese movie Ringu or any of those, even though those are technically the originals because The Ring is an American remake of those. And I'm also not including the short film Rings, not to be confused with the third film in the series, Rings, which has the same name, but that short film was a prequel to The Ring 2. I'm not including that short film on this list either, just the three American versions that were theatrically released. So let's get started. Coming in at last place is The Ring 2. Now, I don't think the movie is as bad as everyone says it is. It's still very watchable, but the biggest issue is that all the psychological horror elements of the first film and the compelling story from the first film is gone. That's all gone. I don't think it was necessary to bring the characters of Rachel and Aiden back. The film opens with a new set of characters. The opening scene of him showing the tape to his date and everything, that is where the film should have followed. The film should have followed those characters. It should have been an entirely new cast of characters with a new tape. So I don't think it was necessary to bring back the characters from the original. It could have continued on as sort of this urban legend and how it affects different people. However, the idea of Aiden being possessed by Samara does make for some fun ideas, but the story just feels kind of redundant, and the stakes in this one just don't feel as high. It's a lot slower paced than the original, and just doesn't feel as urgent as the first film. Coming in at number 2 is Rings. This film gets a lot of hate, but I still enjoyed it. I do think it is a little bit too familiar. It's almost beat for beat for the first movie. It might as well just be a remake of the first movie because it's almost the exact same story with almost the exact same story beats. And there are a few plot contrivances, like, of course the place where they need to go just happens to be, 3 hours away or however long it was. It's not on the other side of the world. No, that's a little too convenient. But I do feel like they modernized the film very well, especially for the 21st century. And the idea of there sort of being this cult or this fan club around the Ring tape and Samara, that was really fun. And it has a really good twist ending. It actually is one of the best twist endings I've seen in a horror film. However, I do think that it being on the internet and everything kind of ruins the urban legend aspect of the first movie, because the idea behind the first movie, even kind of the second movie, was the tape is sort of an urban legend where, hey, there's this tape that supposedly will kill you a week after you watch it unless you make a copy and show it to someone else. What? No. Yeah, it's true. My friend's cousin did this and he didn't show it to someone and they found him dead a week later. A friend of a friend told me this. But now that it's on the internet, it's like, it's on the internet. So it's no longer this urban legend. It's, I can just make a copy a lot more easily and show it to someone else. And that is a little there, but it still had a really good twist ending, and I really wish they continued on with the series after this, because it had a lot of possibilities that didn't really go anywhere. But coming at number 1 is The Ring. Really good ghost story with high stakes and a great supernatural mystery around it. The film really plays up the psychological horror very well. It's a very intense mystery that I was just so invested in for the whole movie, and the last 15 minutes are so intense, and the twist ending to this movie is so good. And even though it is a little bit dated in some aspects, because VHS tape, stuff like that, it's still a pretty solid horror film, still holds up for the most part, so it comes in at number 1. So go ahead and share your ranking of the Ring films. You can include the Japanese ones as well. If you're that big of an aficionado that you've seen the Japanese ones, you can include them in your ranking. You could also include the short film Rings in there as well if you want to. I just chose to include the 3 American versions that were theatrically released, but you can make your list however you want, and I will see you next time.